In Caracas, in a neighborhood called Colinas de Bellamonte, a controversial urban project is kicking up a lot of dust. But this isn't just another construction project. Nope. This is a story about a group of citizens who stumbled upon what they believe is a disaster waiting to happen. And it kicked off an incredible investigation, pitting the community against a really mysterious official plan. And look, the experts, they are not holding back. One civil engineer and architect, Max Louis Marin, gave the tree felling at the center of all this a pretty chilling name: the famous felling of death. I mean, wow. That one phrase tells you everything you need to know about the sense of loss and just how serious this is. So what are we actually talking about here? What's really at stake? Well, how about this? A project that could literally put a major highway at risk. And at the same time, it's wiping out an entire ecosystem that has somehow, against all the odds, survived for more than 50 years. All right, let's dive into the details. Residents and experts are pretty much calling this whole thing a complete blunder. The official name is the Parque Lineal Río Guaire, but the way it's being done has set off some major alarm bells. 53 years. Just let that sink in. That's how long these trees were there. And get this, they weren't planted by the city. They just grew. Spontaneously, they've been surviving since 1972, squeezed between a polluted river and a busy highway. I mean, they were basically living monuments to resilience. So when the communities started digging, they uncovered what they call 3 major crises all rolled into one project. First, there's a huge structural risk. Workers were literally digging away the dirt slope that holds up the highway. Second, what they're calling an ecocide, chopping down these historic trees and putting up crazy bright lights that mess with nocturnal animals. And third, the whole thing is a black box. No transparency, no clear plans, nobody taking responsibility. And this isn't just a few worried neighbors. We're talking about professionals, engineers, who've looked at this and called the removal of that slope, and I'm quoting here, absolutely absurd from an engineering point of view. That tells you just how dangerous people think this is. It's a direct threat to a vital piece of the city's infrastructure. The lack of transparency here is just mind-boggling. Think about it. There's no engineer on record, no public budget you can look at, no final technical plans. The residents were never formally asked what they thought. And they've even seen information about the project mysteriously disappear from the city's website. It's like a ghost project, but one with very, very real consequences. And with a project this secretive, it's no surprise that other serious problems are being completely overlooked. The community has been shouting about these hidden risks, but it feels like nobody is listening. The environmental damage is really a 1-2 punch. First, you've got the ecocide itself. All that destruction means a higher risk of erosion, which just dumps more gunk into the already polluted Guaire River. But then there's the second punch, the super intense LED lighting. It's apparently so bright, it's causing power outages in nearby areas and just wrecking the entire nighttime ecosystem. Okay, but this story isn't just about doom and gloom, because the community, they didn't just point out the problems. No, they came to the table with a really smart science-backed solution. It's called the Vetiver system. So what the heck is the Vetiver system? Well, it's basically a type of bioengineering. You use this incredible grass to do the job of concrete and steel. Its roots lock the soil in place to stop erosion, and it can even clean pollution right out of the ground, a process called phytoremediation. And the best part, it's all natural and way cheaper. And when you put it side by side with old-school concrete engineering, the difference is just stark. The Vetiver system can be up to 90% cheaper. It needs almost no maintenance once it's established. But here's the real kicker. Concrete breaks down over time, right? Vetiver just gets stronger as its roots grow deeper. It's a living solution. Okay, so what makes this supergrass so amazing? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the Vetiver plant, because honestly, its abilities sound like they're straight out of a comic book. So how does it pull this off? First, you have the roots. They dive deep, super fast, and act like living rebar, literally pinning the soil in place. Then above ground, the grass itself forms this dense wall that slows down rainwater and catches loose dirt. And on top of all that, it can survive almost anything, and it's an incredible carbon capture machine. Just to give you an idea of its strength, Vetiver's roots can make the soil over 90% more resistant to being washed away. That's insane. They create this powerful underground web that concrete just can't match. And the list of its superpowers just goes on. It can survive 15 months with no rain. It can live for 45 days completely underwater. It doesn't care if the soil is super acidic or alkaline. It sucks up heavy metals. And this is so important, it's sterile, so it's not invasive. It won't spread and become a problem. It stays right where you put it. And what about the climate change angle? Well, get this. A single hectare of vetiver can pull 53 tons of CO2 out of the atmosphere every year. That is a huge deal. You're basically turning a fragile, risky area into a machine that fights climate change. Okay, so let's pull back for a second. This fight in one neighborhood in Caracas, it's really a small story about a much bigger idea, right? It's about the future of our cities, the power of everyday people, and the amazing potential of green technology. The big lesson here, really, is that bioengineering isn't some fringe alternative idea anymore. It's a real, powerful, and sustainable way to build our cities. It's about finally learning to work with nature instead of constantly fighting against it. So what can we all take away from this story out of Caracas? A few things, really. It shows that when citizens pay attention, it makes a huge difference. It proves that sometimes nature's solutions are just flat out better than concrete and steel. It reminds us that a local problem can actually tell us a lot about global challenges. And maybe the most important thing, it shows that when a community gets informed, they don't just complain, they come up with brilliant, viable solutions. In the end, this isn't just a story about Caracas. It's a story that should make all of us look around our own towns and cities and ask a simple question. What hidden solutions, what simple, powerful ideas, just like this grass, are we overlooking right now that could solve our biggest problems?